Hello and welcome to the Cheers Registry Training Series. Today we'll be covering the general navigation of the updated Cheers Registry. First you'll want to go to the login page, enter your username and password, and then log in. Once you've logged in, you will be taken immediately to our Sites tab. So the Sites tab will contain all sites, which a site is a home or building where the work took place. It will cover all 2013 and 2016 sites, as well as anything that is an alteration, residential new construction, or non-residential site. So they will all be contained in a single location, no more switching back and forth between the 2013 code area and the 2016 code area. So because we've incorporated everything into a single list, we've provided you with several filters with which to narrow down the site if you are looking to search for something. So if we move down here, we have our search bar. So we have some pre-designated search features or filter features. The default will show you all sites that you are a member of. So you can default to the all sites. You can also choose to show only residential sites, residential alteration sites, residential new construction sites, or non-residential sites. For those of you that are working in a community, which is a subdivision, a project where there is more than one home for the builder, we also provide you with the 5 most recently accessed communities. So if you apply these filters, it will only show you sites that belong to that community. If you want to filter by a community that's not currently on this list, you can simply type in the community name here and it will apply that as your filter. So if we show you something here, let's go ahead and filter by just a residential alteration sites. So it's going to switch it out and it's going to show you only those sites that are part of a residential alteration. You can then type in the address, the site name, the permit number, and it will give you results that match your search. Now your search doesn't have to be complete. It can be a partial search, so maybe you just know the address, the number for the address, you type that in, you hit search, and it will show you anything that matches the search criteria that you entered. So it'll help you to filter down and get you close to what you're looking for. So this is our view for alteration sites. It gives you the location, the site name, and the status. Now the status is one of 4 categories. We have our compliance, which lets you know that it's in the CF1R state. That's what's being worked on. If it says installation, that means that CF2Rs are being worked on. If we scroll down here a little bit, let's see if we got, okay, so here we've got a verification. So that means that the CF3Rs are being worked on. And then as we saw up here, the only one that changes color is when all of the forms have been complete, and that lets you know that the site is complete. So kind of a quick, easy way to get an idea of where that site happens to be. Now if we change this filter and we go to a community, it's a completely different look. Now there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to cover it all in this video because it is just kind of a general navigation. But if you do want more information on this, watch our video titled Residential New Construction Site Creation and Management. And I'll go through in detail what this means and how it is going to be helpful for those of you that are working with communities. So let's go ahead, let's switch this back to our all sites. And let's move on to the next item here. So for each of these sites, we provide 2 actions that you can take. So these are things that you used to have to click into site details for, but now we provide them here on the main sites page. So you can generate a project status report. If you click this button, depending on the browser that you're in, it's going to generate the PDF of that project status report, which you can then save or email or whatever you want to do with it. The second action that we have is you can send the documents that are part of that project in an email to various users. So let's go ahead and click on this, and what this does is it's going to default to send all HERS documents. So any documents that are completed will be grouped into an email and sent off to the user of your choice. You can also choose to include the project status report Or if all you want to do is send the project status report, you can simply change your check marks there, and it will send whatever you have checked. So what we do is we provide you with a list of those project members, so those that are members of that particular site, and you can select them by checking on the box. Or if the person that you want to send it to is not a project member, for example, maybe it's a building department and you want to send it to the inspector, you can simply type in that inspector's name, or I'm sorry, that inspector's email address. And once you do that, then the add button becomes active and you can simply add them to that list and they will be automatically selected to be a recipient of that email. You then click on send and it will send those documents off to whichever users and emails that you have selected. So we'll go ahead and we'll cancel on out of there. So those are the two things that you can do here from the main page. You can also do both of these from inside site details as itself. So how do I get to site details? You simply just click on whichever site that you want to access, and that's going to open up our new site details. Now again, I'm not going to go into detail here, but I do cover site details in a separate video, and that video is called Site Details, and I will cover all the functionality that is in Site Details. So let's go ahead, we'll go back to sites here. And so how do I create a site? So I need to create a new site, and we have that functionality right here. So this button will default to the last type of site that you created. So if you want to create an HVAC changeout, an Alto 2, all you need to do is click on this button here and it's going to create, or it's going to open up that site creation field, and it will allow you to enter the information that's needed to then create that HVAC changeout site. If the site that you want to create is different, you'll go over here and click on the little down arrow and we give you several options with which you can choose to create a site. So we have our addition and alteration sites, so an HVAC changeout or a non-residential. We don't currently have the Addo one and the Alto one. You'll need to go into the old Cheers interface at this point to do that, but we are working on that, and that will be added to the new interface here in the near future. Next on the list we have new construction. So if you want to create lots or sites that belong to a community, you can do that here. Again, you can also do that in communities, and we'll look at that here in a second. If you want to create non-residential sites for 2013 code or non-residential sites for 2016 code, those options are there. If you need to import a performance XML file, those options are available here. So for your performance additions and or alterations, click on the button here. For custom homes, so custom homes, this is another change from for this user interface. We no longer have to associate that with a community or a builder. If all you need to do is come in and import that XML for a custom home, click on the button here and you can do that. And then if you want to import community plans, so these are plans that belong to a community or subdivision that you're going to then associate multiple sites with that individual plan. You can do that by clicking on this button here, or you can do that within the Communities tab, which we'll look at here in just a second. So if you need to create a site or import an XML file, this is where you'll want to do that. This is kind of the starting point for site creation. So let's go ahead, let's move on to the next item here, and that would be our sample groups. So sample groups, again, is going to contain all sample groups that you are going to be working in. Now obviously I'm logged in as a builder, so I'm not going to be creating sample groups, but the search function and getting into it and the information provided is the same regardless of whether you're in as a builder or as a HERS rater or whatever your account is. So we have the same filters because again we're going to be showing 2013, 2016, alterations, residential new construction, non-residential, solar, everything's going to be included in one single list. So we allow you some filter options here, and then also we allow you to search. You can search by the sample group name or you can search by the address for the site or the site name for any of the sites that belong to that particular group. So it allows you to search pretty easily for those. We provide you a little bit of information here: the sample group name, the sites that belong to that sample group, the type of group that it is, how many sites currently belong to that group, and then status, whether it's incomplete or complete. So just like on our sites, to create a new sample group, you'll use the new sample group button here. Again, it's going to default to your previous selection. If you need to create a sample group that is different than that item that's currently there, again, click on the arrow and it's going to give you a list of options to choose from. First being residential alterations. Next we have residential new construction for open sample groups, residential new construction for closed sample groups, solar for version 10, solar for version 9, non-residential new construction, and then non-residential alterations. Now once you click into these, it's going to apply the rules that apply to that type of sample group, so you don't have to worry about that. And again, I'm not going to go into detail for sample groups. If you want detailed information on how to create and manage your sample groups, then you'll want to watch our video on sample group workflow. So let's go ahead and that's all for this one. Let's move into the next section, which is our communities. So again, as I briefly mentioned, communities are like subdivisions. So these are your production builders or builders that are going to be building more than one site using the same CF1R or plan. So when you first click into communities, it's just going to give you a list of all communities that you are a member of. So you can again search for those communities. You can search by the community name, the builder, or the city, and it'll show you any communities that match that criteria. We don't have any filters because there's not going to be as many different types in here. It's more specific, but you can do that to get into there. As I mentioned on the Sites tab, when you're creating or importing the XML files for the plans, you can do that on through the Sites tab, or you can simply come to Communities tab and use the Import Plan button here, and that will allow you to import those plans for that community. Now again, not going into a lot of detail here. If you want that detail, go ahead and take a look at our video, Community Workflow, and we'll go through all the details. There's a lot here to work with, so that will all be covered in that Community Workflow video. So one other thing I will mention though before we move on to the next item here is if you want to get into a community, you can simply either from that sites list, if that was one of the filters that you wanted to apply, that will bring it in, or you can click into one of your communities here, and that's going to take you into our community details. This is where all your plans are stored, and a lot of other things. Again, I'll cover this in detail on the community workflow video. One thing I will mention is once you've selected a community, and you can see that I've selected my community here. Again, I've got my option here. I can select from the 5 most recent selected communities. If I go into now my sample groups, it's going to remember that I was working within this particular community, and it's only going to show me those sample groups that belong to that community. Same thing if I move over into sites. It's going to remember that I was working in a community, and so it's going to apply that filter. So we call this kind of a sticky filter. Once you get into a community, whether you select it through the Communities tab, or if you go into here and I'm going, well, I need to work in this community now, it's going to remember that when I go into sample groups. Again, it's going to remember that community. When I go into communities, it's going to show me those details for that community. So it's going to remember that, so you don't have to make that selection in each of the different categories. If you need to get back to that community list because it's not on the top 5 and you can't find it through your search, you can just go back to community list here, and it's going to give you that full list of all those communities that you are a member of. So there's a lot of functionality going on here. Again, be sure to go in and check out those other those videos. We cover everything in detail on all these different items. So the last thing I'm going to touch on here that doesn't get its own video but also has some good user functionality is alerts. So this is something you've been asking for a long time. So we've created a lot of different alerts based on your feedback. So let's take a look at alerts. So you'll notice that it said that I had 10 alerts, and then as soon as I clicked on it, it went away. So it's going to let you know right here if you have new alerts pending your attention. So when we go in here and we look at alerts, there's a couple of different types of alerts that we have available. So these alerts are only going to show up if you have selected to receive them, and we have two different types. We have web alerts, which you see down below, and we have email alerts. So how do we turn those on and off? If we go over here to settings, it's going to allow us to turn on and turn off the various alerts that we want to get. So these alerts, the different types that we have 5 different alerts. We have added to a project, so you'll get this alert if you or your company has been added to a project. If you've been assigned to complete a document, so a user has assigned you as the person that needs to complete that document. If a document that you assigned or edited has been completed and signed by the responsible person, so maybe you filled it out as a document author, but you need that responsible person to sign. Once they sign it, you'll get an alert letting you know that they've signed it, and now you can move on to your next step. And then the last two deal with signature authority. So if a user has approved your signature authority request, or if a user has requested signature authority from you. So either of those you'll get an alert on. So now the way these work is we have, as I mentioned, we have both a web alert and we have an email alert. So in order to get an email alert, you must also have the web alert turned on. If I deactivate my web alert, then you'll see right there, I cannot get an email alert. So you can get a web alert only, or you can get a web alert and an email alert. And you can select which ones you want. You can see this user is not going to get an email alert for either of these, but they are going to get the web alerts. So let's go back now and look at alerts. And you can manage these either from here, or when we look at your account information, I'll show you where you can manage those in there as well. So we toggle back here into our alerts, and let's look at a couple of different ones. So this one, added to a project, gives you the date and time that it was done and gives you a little bit of information. So Cheers, which is the user, has added you to the community, DR Multi5. So it just means that now you are a member of that community and you can access it. So we give you a quick link here that will then take you to that community. If it happens to be a site that you are added to, this link will take you to that site. So this just quick link takes you wherever you want it to go. If you've been assigned to complete a document, like for example in this one, AA Raider Company is requesting your signature on a PRF 01, you can simply, once you've reviewed the document, you can sign from right here, or if you want to actually go to that document, click on go, it'll take you to that document. You can review it and sign it within that document there. So it gives you a couple of options. Same thing here. The other option that you have is if you have multiple documents to sign, you've already reviewed them and you just want to throw your signature on all of them, then you can choose to sign all documents and it's going to apply your signature to all of those documents at one time. Some of the other ones we see that a responsible person has signed. So again, this will take you to that particular document. Been added to a project. So here you go, here's another one, assigned to complete a document. So this is, someone says there's this document, you're the person that's responsible for it. So you can come in here and again, this will take you to that document, allow you to input all your data, sign that document and go through that process. So a lot of very useful information here for management of these alerts. Again, the same kind of functionality is available in your email alerts. So it'll have quick links to take you to the documents or to apply your signature, things of that nature. So we made it as easy as possible for users to go and do exactly what they need without having to really search and find and all of that. So that is all of our alerts. And then our last little section here, which is really just kind of informational and for you to kind of maintain. This is your account information. So it gives you kind of your profile, your billing information. Here's where you do signature authorizations. So either request or grant signature authority. And then contains a list of those you can sign for and those that can sign for you. Alerts, again, here if you want to manage alerts, you can do it from here as well. I showed you how to do it through the alerts button, or you can manage that there. And then your password management is down there. And then the last thing that we'll mention before we finish here, if you're logged in and you want to log out, we have our button right over here to log out, and that'll just take you right back to your login screen. So the new user interface is great. It's very simple, easy to use. It's also available for any platform. So it's going to adapt based on the type of device that you're on, whether you're on a desktop, a mobile device, a tablet. The screen will adapt and fit whatever type of device you're on. So there is no special mobile site that you have to go to. One site, all devices can all be done in a single place. So that brings us to the end. Again, if you need more information on any of those items that I just kind of touched on, take a look at our other videos. They'll be included in various libraries so that you can go in, and if you're an alterations contractor, you're going to find things that are specific to you, or if you're an energy consultant, we've provided all those, as well as all of them will be available as individual videos. So thank you for watching. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or need some additional help working through some of these features, don't hesitate to reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll be more than happy to assist. So thank you for watching. This has been General Navigation for the new Cheers Registry. So as always, thank you for watching and have a good day.